Okay, everybody, welcome, welcome. Lovely to have you. So, for this first Friday meditation, we always begin with a Judge-Your-Neighbor Worksheet. So, pen and paper, just consider this a meditation, or if you like to write on a device of some kind, wherever you like to write. We're first taking a look at whatever we find disturbing and interesting to notice, so helpful to notice that often the body is disturbed or the mind is disturbed, and sometimes we're not even sure what's the problem, or there's so much that's the problem. You know, if we get started, I can make a whole long list. But just to narrow it down, we're going to start with one thing, but just take a moment and let yourself see something that's bothering you. And we don't even have to measure whether it's a big thing or a small thing. Maybe there is no big or small, but just notice a disturbance. And see if there's an image or a situation that proves you need to be disturbed, or just shows you what you feel disturbed about. One thing, one moment. So if you have for example, I'm thinking all this sort of an relationship change and unfolding underway right now for me with one of my children. Really learning, listening, wanting to listen more, things that have changed over months. So I have lots of images and moments, but I can pick and find one image or one moment that feels like where the emotion got heightened, like the volume got turned up on it. Oh yeah, this is what's happening. This is, if I told the story, say, oh, here's what's going on with this being in my life. So just noticing something that's happening, and it doesn't matter if it's long ago or very recent, something you feel disturbed by. And hello to everyone joining. We're starting with finding a situation. Finding a situation, which means just a snapshot. I really love the image of when we watch a movie, as if you push the pause button right on a, you can even calibrate it, just see like that frame where your feelings are really turned up. Like, oh, upset, troubled, angry, irritated, frightened, sad. And it's good to come back to that picture and that situation, just noticing that. See that picture in your mind, to answer the Judge Your Neighbor questions, to identify, spending time identifying the stressful thoughts. We're going to go into them instead of, if you're like me, my mind, wanting to rush away from them quickly. Let's get rid of this upsetting thought. Don't think about it, or change it. Instead, we're going to go ahead and let it be there. It's safe to be looking at a disturbing situation. So any of you who just feel, oh, I don't want to think about that today, I don't like it. Just notice that you're in the safety of your own space. You're here with this amazing thing that happens where we all can connect from any place in the world. And just like meditation, we're just here. Mind is running, safe to be looking at what's disturbed us. So seeing your situation, it's a picture or an image. And if anyone has any questions along the way, you can put it in chat and I will probably see it. So I love this step one. We don't even have to do anything with the thinking except to see it and listen. So number one on the Judge-Your-Neighbor Worksheet, what has disturbed me? I am upset because, and fill in the blank. And if you can keep your sentence really simple and basic, it's helpful, but not necessary. Let it just come out the way it naturally comes out for you. You can name the feeling if you like to. There's the feeling because. Why are you disturbed when you look at that situation? And if you just got here, we're just starting to fill out the Judge-Your-Neighbor Worksheet. Number one. It's a good question. So Hannah's asking, does it have to be linked to another person or can it be something general? It's helpful if you're at least looking at an other and it doesn't have to be a person. Like there's me and then there's the world, or what's happening out there. And just to notice and experience. You can ask a little more if you want, but I do notice like body shows up a lot. Body, money doesn't seem like a person. Weather, virus. And I love that you asked this, Hannah, because so many of us have a desire or tendency to move into, well, I know it's not really what's outside of me. It's me that's the trouble. I'm the problem. And not impossible to do the work on that, but just notice it's such a tendency in itself to say, I'm the problem. My thinking's the problem. I need to change something here. And like sort of the panic or discouragement or anger about that. It's the same thing. I'm arguing with my own mind. I'm arguing with who I am. And I love that Byron Katie invites us. And then I found this to be true by experimentation. That if I find usually I don't have a trouble with myself all alone. It's something that I've met in life, some kind of interaction, somewhere the conversation scared me. So something between me and the world or life that created a disturbance, that even created a disturbance about who I am. So even if you have that, just still see, like, okay, we'll still see, well, what bothered me that I began before that, my reaction was what it was. And then I started thinking I should change. Just see what the thing you're looking at. how that should change. Person, item. Okay, so there's that thing I'm looking at. And I'm disturbed because you see, here's the reason why. This is what I don't like. This is what I'm against. The offense, thing that scared me. So how do you want it to change? Looking at that over there, I want it to change. And it's okay if it feels like you're 3 years old. It doesn't have to be logical or mature. In fact, that's the spirit of it, even better. Just taking that scared mind. I want whatever it is you're seeing, looking at there. How do you want it to change? Just simple sentences. And you can just listen and see, did I get it? Is that how I want what I'm seeing here to change? Person, thing, condition. So question 3 is, what advice would I offer? And it's especially so that whatever it is I'm seeing there can make that change. So what advice would I offer so it can change that way, or they can change? Just using should, shouldn't, advice giving, the great advice giving words. So they should, it should, it shouldn't. What do you recommend? All right. Number four. I love this question. In order for you to be happy in this situation, in order for you to be happy, what do you need? So let's consider happiness a moment in this situation. Like sometimes it seems whatever you're looking at is so unhappy. There's no happiness possible here. But wonderful to have this question. What would it take? In order for me to be happy, I need, and what do you want to receive from the person you're looking at, the thing you're looking at? What would help? What would make it so that you would feel happy? And it's whatever happiness might look like in this situation. Either might be very calm, might be jubilant, joyful, excited, relaxed, relieved, total relief. And not necessarily undoing the situation, but what would happen, what would need to happen now? So you're looking at the situation that's occurred. What do you need in order for it to go back to happy or to arrive at happy? In order for me to be happy, I need in this situation. Number 5, what do you think of what you're looking at in this situation? That person, that thing, that condition. What do you think of it? What do you think of them? Make a list. So, just a few words that describe he is, she is, it is in this situation. No editing. So, if you just came on, we're filling out the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Almost done. That person, that thing is unedited. And the very last prompt or question, what is it that you never want to experience again? That you've experienced in this situation? I love it. Our mind gets to say, I don't ever want. What do you never want to experience again? Someone asked, repeat question 5. Yeah. So just how would you describe, what do you think of this person or this thing that you're looking at? They are just one word with a comma in between. Description, usually very short. They are selfish, horrible, impossible. And that number 6, I don't ever want, you do not want to experience. What do I not want to experience? I experienced in that situation ever again. Okay. So welcome everyone. Some people just came on as we were filling out the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Sometimes even so powerful just to slow down and fill that thing out, answer those questions in a group. Might come out differently than when you wrote it quickly by yourself. At least that happens for me. So, who would like to do the work? And what you'll do is tell us your situation and read your Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, and we'll begin the inquiry. Yeah, okay, Ellen.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're so welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just start?
Yeah, and why don't you say, tell us your situation briefly first.
Okay.
Just what's happening there, and then, yeah, you can read.
All right. So I live with my adult son. He's 20, just turned 28. We've both been working from home. I've retired now, retired from my bedroom, which is where I was working. And he's still working, and he works out of his bedroom. And the situation is that he's not taking care of himself, and I'm very upset that he's not taking care of himself.
Wonderful. Okay. So read your number 1 on your Judge Your Neighbor. And so there he is, not taking care of himself. What's specifically is going on, if anything more?
Well, how I think I know this is he starts work at 10 o'clock. So, and I'm up around 6. So I know if he comes out of his room. And I know that he hasn't come out of his room. So he didn't take a shower. He didn't brush his teeth. Certainly didn't eat anything. He didn't even empty his bladder. He just would have rolled out of bed and into his chair and started working online.
Okay. Great situation. All right, there he is. So read your number 1. Is it different from he's not taking care of himself?
No, that's what I put for number 1 is he's not taking care of himself, but I have all the details in the next one.
Okay, very good.
To do and everything,
yeah. Okay, so let's hear, go ahead and read number 2, and we'll be looking at he's not taking care of himself, but read number 2. How do you
Okay.
want it to change?
I want him to take a shower every day, to shave, to set an alarm, to get dressed, to cut his hair, and to go for a walk.
Okay. Don't you love the list? It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we even get started, it can just go much longer. At least I notice that in my own mind. But we've got that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone, as you follow along, just see if you can find that person. There's a person in your life you care about, and it might not be underway right now, but in the past where they aren't taking care of themselves. And you know what it would look like if they did take care of themselves, right? Okay, they aren't taking care of themselves. And just hold that person in mind and let the inquiry run through you while Ellen answers the questions. All right. So there he is, Ellen. He's not taking care of himself. He's not doing those things. Is it true? He's not taking care of himself.
Yes.
And can you absolutely know that that's true?
I know that I can't know for sure what he needs to do to take care of himself. So
Uh,
I have to say no second
uh-huh.
time.
Yes. Okay. So what happens when you think it? He's not taking care of himself.
Well, he's been depressed before, and so I assume he's depressed now.
Hmm.
And it just jumped to the end where he could hurt himself.
So it's just powerful to see the mind travels to like suicide, hurting himself, damaging his body, whatever these things that he isn't doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, images of that. Okay. And see how you treat him when he's not taking care of himself. I mean, how do you, there he is, not coming out of his room, not doing those things that you want him to do. How do you treat him? Just what's the energy like between from you to him when you think he's not taking care of himself?
Well, um, I guess I'd have to say it's pretty inauthentic because so far, I've just been uh, pretending there isn't a problem and acting as if what's going on is not an issue. And then I separate from him as much as possible.
Hmm. Okay.
I have a lot of fear about what to do. So, like, do something or don't do something. I don't know what the best answer is. So, I just have been avoiding it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you feel afraid of? Like, what do you picture? Any images that come if you didn't avoid it? He's not taking care of himself. Just noticing I don't say anything. I'm just watching and I'm afraid or I don't speak up.
Well, I'm afraid if I do speak up that uh, I will ask him to leave. I just say that if he isn't going to change, he's not going to help himself. I can't live with him the way he is now.
Mm.
I can't watch him spiral. And then I see him homeless and dying on the streets,
Mm.
or I just see him killing himself in his room
Mm.
here.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. Okay. So so helpful to see like the mind gets these strategies. I'll ignore it and then this will happen, and it's scary. I'll do something, and then that will happen, and that's frightening too. No good possibilities, very dramatic too, right? Catastrophic.
Mhm.
Okay to be watching
Yep.
that. Okay. Like, okay. And just see how you treat yourself. How do you think of you? I'm the mom, whatever happens here. What do you think of yourself when he's not taking care of himself?
I feel completely responsible,
Mhm.
um, guilty, ashamed, all of that.
Yeah. So just noticing all that. All right. So who would you be without the thought? Quite a story, right? He's not taking care of himself. Who would you be
Well,
without?
I would just be loving and accepting him the way he is, however that is. Rolling out of bed into his chair. That's what's working for him right now. I mean, if I didn't have these other thoughts, then we would just um, have an easier time living together.
Hmm.
Not that it hasn't been easy for him. I think it's been easier for him because I've been avoiding him. So I think that's been working for him.
Uh,
Not so much for me.
yeah. 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 Really sitting with that a moment. It's very powerful, even the feeling in the body. Who would I be without the thought? There he is doing what he does. I don't have the story. He's not taking care of himself. And I'm not in denial either. It's still okay to notice I might have some questions. Like avoiding isn't really working, attacking isn't working. Yeah, just somewhere different. At least that's where I go without the story. Without the story of all the meaning I'm putting on it. It means something bad about me as a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just hold that for another moment. Imagine that moment when you're looking at his door or that he's in there, hasn't come out. Like that moment, that situation where you think he's not taking care of himself. And you don't have the thought, he is not taking care of himself. And just see how that feels, how that feels. See what that's like.
Yeah, I would just be curious. I mean, then I'd just be able to have a conversation with him without sort of an emotional load about what's going on. And um, I mean, he was doing some of these things better before, so why things have changed, and it would be a lot easier for him to answer if he didn't think his mother was having an emotional breakdown over his situation, whatever it is. So he'd be able to engage with me as opposed to lie to me or worry about how I'm feeling and not be able to express what he's feeling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of that could happen.
Yeah, very different. So let's turn it around. He's not taking care of himself. I'm not
No,
taking care of myself,
for sure.
especially
Yeah.
in this situation, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to my son. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true because I'm here sitting in a closet crying, so
Wow.
not necessarily good. Um, not, I'm consumed with worrying about him, so I'm not taking care of myself, and I'm not taking care of my thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Good example. Yeah. Yeah. Like if I really find that like a living turnaround there, it's I might not even know, but how would I take care of myself? How would I mother myself? You know, like this mothering thing that I think I'm supposed to be doing. How would I do
Yeah.
it for me? Yeah. It's just where my mind goes. I'm not taking care of myself. Do I need some support? Do I need something? What would I do? But just watching. Yeah. And here you are doing the work.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else there? I'm not taking care of myself, especially when it comes to my son. Anything else?
Yeah. Well, he may be taking care of himself. I don't really
Mm,
know what he needs.
mm, mhm.
Right. So maybe this is how he at least thinks he needs what he needs to do to take care of himself.
So that's great. It's another turnaround. He is taking care of himself.
Yeah.
And if you even just found without it being a maybe, like how could it be true? He is taking care of himself. An example that you know he is taking care of himself, even though he doesn't come out of his room.
Well, he's working. I mean, that's amazing. If he is really depressed, he's still managing to work every day online, which is
Wow.
where his job is right now. So, I mean, that's taking care of himself financially and from a job perspective, which is pretty great.
Yes. Yes. What's another example? He is taking care of himself.
Maybe he can't stand his job as it exists right now, and this is the only way he can tolerate it is to roll out of bed and get onto the chair. Like maybe he can't face doing it any other way.
Hmm.
Maybe he's afraid if he leaves his room, he'll never go back in.
Mm-hmm. It's good to watch where the mind goes with, you know, it could be this, it could be this. I mean, we'll all, you know, and you're not sure, these might be questions. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah. He is taking care of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, he did go to the dentist 2 weeks ago.
Ah,
So that's one way. That was a way he was taking care of himself.
yeah.
Of course, he had to feel a great deal of pain before he did that, but still, he went. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great to see, you know, how much pain we think they need to be in. And it's maybe the same for us. I turn it
Mm-hmm.
around. I, I have to be in a lot of pain before I
Yeah,
do the
true.
work or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, meet my thoughts with understanding or be willing to answer questions or, yeah,
It's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Maybe I want to turn down the pain level a notch and inquire sooner or talk to him sooner. Who knows? Yeah. So he's not taking care of himself. Any other turnarounds that you see? You aren't in the original thought here with this one, you know? So it's like just a couple simple turnarounds. There might not be more because just him taking care of himself, me not taking care of myself. And you can see if any
Yeah.
of the other ones fit, like, I think it would just be there. It's just those simple, the ones you just found.
Yeah.
So take a look at what you wrote with, I want him to.
Oh, the list of things he could do to
Yeah,
make me happy.
yeah, yeah.
Cut his hair, shave, shower every day, get dressed every day, and exercise every day, and be happy.
Yes. All right. So if he does all those things,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, helpful to notice that if somebody does those things, not the last one, that just be happy, but somebody that's doing those things, then I know they're happy. Is that true? You know what I mean?
Yes, I for sure do know what you mean.
Yeah. This is what people do who are,
Happy though, like how does one measure that?
yeah, yeah,
That's a year's work,
right.
right?
Yeah. People are supposed to, they have to do it on the way I think of it, like brush teeth, get haircut, do those things. And it's also helpful to notice, those are required for happiness. That means somebody's happy if they're doing those things. And it doesn't mean
Right.
that might not be, taking care of yourself. So it's just
Yeah.
finding a balance here. Could be that not doing those things is taking care of yourself. I mean, that's interesting. Don't want them to do that. I don't want them to do those things in order to be happy. I want them to be able not to do those things and still be happy. Could that be just as true? It's interesting
Yeah.
and good to turn around. I want me to do those things for myself. I like I like it better when I do those. Brush my teeth, get a haircut, take a shower. Yeah. I love this. I want that person to be happy. Is it true?
I do want him to be happy.
Yeah. So just watch and notice, like I know this from looking at my own kids too. I know, I know what happiness looks like for them. And I absolutely know that that's true.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I know for sure it's not true. I know for sure I have no idea what his path might be to achieve happiness, if that's a possibility for him. No, I know I don't know anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm still aware that I have thoughts of being tied to, his happiness, which is not an uncommon parenting thought.
True. Yes. Yes. So we want them to be happy. And there's the stressful way of being with that thought and a joyful way of being with that thought, like just do we want happiness all the time at every moment? Are we sure that not taking a shower in the morning and just starting to work instead of come out means unhappiness?
Well, of course I don't, but I mean, there are many stories like Byron Katie's, but I believe that before she sort of encountered the work, she was potentially not happy and not showering and not taking care of herself and in a pretty deep depression. And out of that came not only amazing enlightenment for her, but this amazing gift for many, many other people as well. So if someone wished that for her, for Byron Katie, and their wish came true, we wouldn't be here today.
Oh, that's kind of,
And other people say that too. Eckhart Tolle says that about his enlightenment came out of depression. And so how do you know? I mean, how does anyone know
yeah.
why someone else is having an experience? And maybe there is the gift of enlightenment or something, anything that's going to come out of it.
Mm. Yeah, it sure does seem like in reality there's this thing called happiness, which has different, variety and color palette. And then there's also suffering and absence of happiness that appears, but can't really cut that out. I mean, it all seems for something. I want them to be happy. It's just really stressful. Oh, I want them to be happy. I want me to be happy. Turned around, I want me to be happy.
Yeah, well, that would be a good one for me.
Especially when it comes to my son.
Yeah.
I want me to be happy. How would you live that in the moment?
I have no clue, but I think it might have to do with unconditional love for him. Well, probably, and for myself as well. Right? But I think if I'm able to accept who he is, whatever's happening, then that would make me happier and more loving.
Yeah.
I would think. I haven't done that, but that's what I'm thinking that would lead to.
It sounds like it. Yeah. And acceptance, I hear too, might not necessarily be the way you've been doing it, like ignoring it. Like,
I agree. Yeah. Oh no, I don't get that as acceptance.
yeah. Yeah. I love that Katie says this. It's been just the sweetest recognition for me in the work is it's not about being passive. It's not like swinging over here, like, I hate that this is happening. I don't hate it at all. Like, I have nothing to do with it. It's like somewhere in the middle, like letting yourself have this conversation, be alive, and whoever I am is meeting this moment, with a sense of I'm in the conversation. I'm here. I'm in my own head, or in with this other person, just alive, meeting it.
Without a story, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
yeah. Not the dreadful, catastrophic story.
the stressful story. Yeah.
Yeah, not the stressful story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want that. I want me to be happy, especially when it comes to my son. I don't want him to be happy, but you were finding that there could be advantages
Yeah.
for lack of happiness in life. Very interesting. He wants me to be happy.
Yeah. I'm sure that's true. And I have no idea how he would describe that in his head, like what I would have to do to demonstrate to him that I was happy. I don't know what that would mean to him, of course.
Yeah. Sort of a world of, nice world of questions in a way. It comes up like, oh, the curiosity. It's like, what would, yeah, just like finding out what they think, what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very sweet inquiry. Just the beginning, underway. Very powerful, Ellen.
Thank you. I really appreciated it. Thanks to everybody for listening. And
Yeah.
thank you. Licha, is that how you say your name?
Yeah, in the chat.
Yeah.
It's Leja.
Leja. Okay. Well,
Leja.
thank you for your comment too.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And anyone else, feedback, just watching, following the same. Did you do that for your own situation? What else is here that you'd like to just share? Or anything you want to share with Ellen? And like Leja, you can do it in the chat too.
Yeah. Hi, I want to share.
Yeah.
So I really resonated with this this whole thing, because as a mom of two grown boys, both of my boys have announced that they're expecting babies. My oldest is one that I've often worried about, had the same inquiry with. And my oldest isn't married. And so I really was just doing the work with you on that situation, and how I have all these thoughts around, you should be married, you should be established, you should be this, you should be that. And how do I know that? Like, maybe none of that's really true for him. And just finding the ease in that, it's my thinking. I really liked all the turnarounds. I just really could resonate with all of them. So thanks for doing that inquiry, because it was also for me. So thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
And even if you don't have children, noticing, we do this with our parents or friends, and just the anxiety, it's the unnecessary suffering. Doesn't mean I'm ignoring, or there they are being that way, becoming curious, interested, different than, oh my God, the cat, the dread. Yeah, Marty.
I wanted to say that I've done this inquiry about my own son many times. His restaurant was closed permanently. He lives in New York City and he's an actor, so there's no shows going on. And I get really worried about him, that he's going to do something that, I catastrophize. And I'm not with him because I'm in Florida and he's up there, so I can't be close. And it can be all consuming if you don't just sit down and stop the mind and ask it some real questions and do the inquiry. He's fine. He's fine. He texted me. He's fine. So it was just worry and the mind spinning. It will spin and spin and spin. It needs to be stopped in its tracks.
Yes.
So thank you for doing my work for me too, Ellen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marty.
Yeah. And Sandy's sharing, thanks, Ellen. My own story so often causes me pain with my interactions with others, like they caused my story. Your work today is powerful for me regarding my relationships with my mom and sister, and really with myself. Yeah.
Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, Victoria.
Hi. I was very interested in your story because I was thinking about my own son, and what struck me about your story is how you thought it would be better if you just sort of ignored it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I've got my 40-year-old son kind of sitting on the couch and not working. And I've been tiptoeing around it because he's living in my summer house. And I've told him he should move out by September because my husband, his stepfather's on my back. He's got to be independent. So I've told him he has to move out by the end of September, and he's not talking to me, and he's mean to me, and I'm kind of tiptoeing around it and not facing it. And that struck me in your story, how you kind of think, well, best unsaid, best tiptoe around him. And listening to you, I'm thinking maybe that's not the best way to handle it. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Victoria.
Yeah. Really find is that as another way to meet this. It's like being in and kind of engaged, connected with the one. And of course the mind comes up with all those ideas, either attack it or run away from it or freeze or, to survive the situation. Can we just hold our breath and get through it? And then sometimes reality is inviting us to something else. Yeah. So thank you, Ellen. Yeah. Lovely. And even others, I love that you're also finding, like Katerina, I have a similar ongoing thought that I have to make my sister happy. I have to make her happy, or whoever it is. I have to make her happy. Yeah. Isn't this amazing how common it is with so many people we encounter? All right. So thank you. So time for someone else. Who else would like to do the work? Looking at that Judge-Your-Neighbor worksheet that you wrote.
I have a quick one, or
Sure.
if it's okay.
Yeah.
My yoga manager at my yoga studio also does kind of counseling on the side. So I was meeting with him and doing some body works and tapping and some stuff. And so I've been texting him a lot about my feelings afterwards. He said, what is your awakening today? And how was it? So I would text things that were going on for me after the session. And this has been for a year now. And I just found out last week that his assistant has been reading all my texts. She just wrote to me and I said, wait a second, who is this? I thought this was you. And no, he says, well, she checks out my texts for me because I get so many. And I was really angry and hurt and embarrassed. And I felt like all my dirty laundry had been put out. And she got to see everything. So I wrote one about Alex, that Alex shouldn't let her go through his emails and texts. And I'm upset because he didn't tell me that she was also reading whatever I wrote to him. How do I want him to change? I want him to apologize. I want him to realize how much he hurt me by what he did, how it broke my trust in him, how sad I am and embarrassed that he did this. I want him to start writing to me on Messenger to get it started, because he said, well, let's switch over to Messenger because she doesn't read my Messenger posts or whatever. If he really cared about me, he would switch over to Messenger and get that ball started. What advice would I give him? That he should let people know when others will be seeing their private emails and texts. That he shouldn't let anyone else read confidential emails. With my finger, I can see my finger wagging at him. Of course you shouldn't let anybody read personal emails, Alex, and you should let me know. And my finger is out there. He should let all of his clients know that their emails and texts are not private to him. In order for me to be happy, what do I need? I need Alex to call me, because he would know how upset I am, and set up even a Zoom meeting with the three of us so I can talk to his assistant also, and let them know how I will never trust him again, probably. And they are mean, thoughtless, unethical, unprofessional, untrustworthy, and dishonest. And never again. I don't ever want to know that a stranger, I do know her, but because she's a yoga teacher there too, but someone unauthorized has read my personal heartfelt writing and sharings.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Great suggestion. Thank you. All right. So everybody find where somebody hurt you. You could just find a situation when you didn't have they're unauthorized. Well,
I did take one of the thoughts, and while Ellen was working, and I put, he lied to me.
He lied.
He lied to me.
Okay.
And I turned it around, that I lied to me by assuming that his phone was safe. He never said his phone was safe. He never said it in words. I assumed it was safe for anything that I wanted to write. And then I said, he embarrassed or shamed me. I embarrassed or shamed me. But I know that there's still a lot more in there, because I want to call him as soon as this is over, or I want to text him and say, I'm still pissed at you, Alex.
Yeah.
I think I tell everybody in the studio, don't trust your email, that your emails and texts are private.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, and just noticing the fear. So he embarrassed me. Let's look at that one. He embarrassed me. I found out this added information, and now I'm embarrassed and ashamed, and I don't trust him. So
Yes,
I like how
you
you,
did.
yeah,
Of course.
embarrassed me.
He
So,
embarrassed me.
okay. Find that, everyone just let that come to mind, and you can just let it float to the surface, you know, see where you have been embarrassed because of somebody else. All right. So is it true, Marty, that he embarrassed you?
Unintentionally.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
absolutely know that that's true, that he embarrassed you, unintentional or not? Can you absolutely know that it's true?
Yes.
So what happens when you think it? He embarrassed me.
Then I think of all the names about him. You know, I'm calling him names.
Yes. Are you thinking
You're
of,
this, you're that.
yes. And his assistant reading your text for a whole year. All right.
Mhm.
He
Oh
embarrassed.
my God, I'm so embarrassed. How could he do that?
How does
I mean, I'm sure I'll have to go through them because I saved them for a year on my, you know, in our text conversations. But I said some pretty private things about our session, about me, not about him, but about my feelings and my reactions and my process.
Mm-hmm.
And he just put that out there to her.
So it's good to see. One of the ways you react is you want to go in and replay and look and see what was said. You know, like you want to go back over the,
What did I say?
yeah, what did I say? What did I say to make sure? And just watching, like, let's go over it again. I was just noticing how the mind would like to move into that, into the past, and kind of, you know, get a handle on what was said. So I really understand the whole span of the embarrassment. So
I did not give him permission to include her in my stuff. I might have if he would have asked.
Mhm.
She's lovely. I love her Qigong class,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would have said, sure, she can read them too.
Yes.
And he never asked, and that's what pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. He embarrassed me by never asking. He embarrassed me by never asking. Just see, pissed off, wanting to look at the past. Where,
Ooh,
yeah. And where,
oh, Alex, I'm disappointed in you.
yes.
Oh, so much energy behind it. You know, like I wish I had a punching bag.
Yeah. Okay. So it feels like aggressive. What images do you see when you think about this embarrassment? You know, what images do you see in your mind that frighten you into the future, or what you've imagined? She's reading everything you wrote.
Oh, God. I see myself getting angry, and that, and what I really fear is that my anger comes so strong because I'm a counselor. I'm a school counselor, and so I've had to sit on my anger and sit on some of the hot emotions a lot for years, and I'm afraid of them coming up. You know, that I might punch her or him. I never would. He's a doll.
Yeah.
But it frightens me.
Mm-hmm.
My anger frightens me that I could do something mean back.
Good to see, you know, that you see yourself punching somebody, punching her, whatever, being so upset, having a thing. There's a thing that happens. You know, he's embarrassed me. He's embarrassed me. So defense, attack, images that go with that. Yeah.
Oh, so angry. I didn't even put angry down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm angry.
Yeah. Okay. And you just see what it feels like to be angry.
Oh, where's the number? Where's the number for emotions? Which one? Because I didn't write any emotions down. What number does that come under?
Well, sometimes it can just be right there in number one, but it's just watching in here. You're in the third question. How do I react when I'm believing he embarrassed me? I actually get angry. I feel angry. I have attacking. What's the energy like between me and him? It's like attacking. I have pictures of punching, violence, scared. I'm scared. I don't like it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Okay.
Doesn't feel good at all.
I mean, it's good to see in any of these kind of frightened moments, angry moments, when something's been uncovered that we think shouldn't have been, like just, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? What's the thing that's really scary about this incident? Why am I so embarrassed? At least where I go.
That my heart and my my privacy was not respected.
Yeah.
You know, it came up that somebody said in the chat, sue him. You know, I could. It's against HIPAA laws. You know, I mean, privacy.
Yeah.
We have a right for privacy.
And still noticing all this, so there's no privacy, and it turned out that's not the case. What am I afraid of? I just love sitting with, what am I so afraid of? What do I think of as embarrassing here? It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, that what happened. It's like, what am I embarrassed? The assistant will sees me as, less than somebody with these feelings, or somebody with these, or complicated, or whatever, just noticing.
That she is going to think I'm a basket case.
Okay, so good to see. I'm really afraid of that. I don't like it. Yeah. Like, what if you were the most amazing person in the world, and you might not be embarrassed, right? Like, if you thought of that as all your communication was just incredible, maybe, but just to notice. She thinks I'm a basket case. It's great. It like really smacks into your identity as being, somebody sees I'm a basket case. I'm embarrassed.
Somebody that I did not invite in.
Yes, right.
You know.
Yes.
And it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the danger, so dangerous. Somebody sees me as that way, basket case. And just watching that I'm afraid of that. So who would you be without that story? He has embarrassed me. He has embarrassed me. Who would you be without that thought? You think of her and him and you and all that you wrote. Without the thought.
Proud at how hard I've worked all this year. I joined the studio a year ago, and I've worked really, really hard. Even with a broken toe, my first yoga class, I broke my big toe with a boot to my daughter's wedding and everything. Despite all of that, I've worked really hard. Yeah, and I can be proud of that.
Yeah.
No matter what she thinks. If she judges me, take it to a JYN. She can work on it.
Yeah. And just so helpful to see, and you're not alone in this, how much fear arises with somebody else's judgment. There they are judging, there they are assessing who I am, and it terrifies me. I don't like it. I don't like it so much, I'm ready to punch in my head, even though I'm not going to do that. But it's like, wow. So he's embarrassing me without the thought. Like it's restored all this that's come out of this. It's wonderful. Okay. Let's turn it around. He embarrassed me. I embarrassed me. I am embarrassing me in this situation. I'm shaming myself in this situation.
I'm embarrassing me. Yes. Yeah. I'm looking at the things that I wrote as being shameful
Yeah.
because they were from the little me, from this tender little part of me that that I was sharing with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't need to keep the cement over that tender little part of me. I've chipped away at it all year, and I don't need to keep it there. I can, okay, if she saw what I wrote, that's me. I'm not going to put up the shield again and say, I deny it.
Beautiful.
That's me, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I told him anything. I mean, nothing personal, but it was about my person. It was about my heart. It was about my growth. And I didn't give her permission to read it. But I think the thing that scares me is that I was outed. I mean,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I scared myself. I outed myself. I embarrassed myself. It's like I'm imagining with this, I get this information and I imagine this other person reading it and something scares me about that. And I make it that
Yeah,
means,
that she's judging me.
yeah, it's dangerous to be judged. I shouldn't be judged by that person. Amazing thing to question. It's dangerous if other people judge me. Is it true?
Oh, he just texted me. It just came up. He just said, if you need to share anything more personal, go to Karaoke Talk or Messenger. I'm working on you, Alex.
Yes. Yeah. So I embarrassed myself. I embarrassed myself in this situation.
I embarrassed myself. I outed myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I only find it's like just noticing nobody can do that to me. Only, I mean, I decide I'm embarrassed. This is embarrassment worthy. I'm deciding that.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing to be embarrassed about.
It's also, so, I mean, it's nice to notice. Nobody has said those things are so embarrassing that you wrote or anything. That's just your own mind saying it.
Yeah, and it just reminds me of when I was a child.
Good to see.
I would try to write personal letters to my older brother who would listen to me, and my father found the letter in my desk, and they put me in the backseat of the car and took me to a part of the neighborhood that was quiet and secluded, and they said, we want to talk to you about this letter that you wrote to your brother. And oh my God, don't you know how much your mother does for you? And tried to shame me instead of letting me talk about what I'd written and share the feelings about why I wrote them.
So
yeah.
Isn't it sweet that you can now, I mean, it's so precious to find the first time you ever had this thought, and here's this image that appears. Oh my. So I can give myself, letting myself talk freely without embarrassment, reveal my own feelings that they have been revealed. I can give myself that now. I can even go back to that little girl and say, oh, these worried people around me.
And they were worried about feelings that weren't perfect. If anything wasn't perfect, then there was something wrong. And I just had some anger about her. She didn't have to be perfect. I was just angry. It was just anger. That's all.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Innocent. Innocent. Everyone.
Yeah.
All innocent. So I embarrassed him. That's the other turnaround. I embarrassed him.
Him.
Even if it's just in your mind, but I embarrassed him in this situation.
I may have when I called him on it, when I said, you know, she shouldn't be reading your texts without letting people know. Maybe it embarrassed him. Because he has written to me several times about, I've been thinking about it a lot. Let's make this right. Let's switch over to Karaoke Talk or one of these other apps where it's more secure, or she doesn't check that. I think this is the yoga studio's phone that he's been using, and I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So she does have access to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just reminded me enough of that situation where they found my letter and took offense to it instead of letting me be me or letting me have whatever feelings I had.
Yeah. And
I embarrassed him. Because he's the manager. He knew that it was not right.
Or, you know, it's just watching that accusing, making him wrong, doing the shame. He should be ashamed that we have in our mind. They should know it isn't right. I mean, and if this happened for me, and no one did anything wrong. No one did anything wrong. You know, if we're not looking at this as whether it's right or wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's conversations can be had and adjustments can be made. Just like in Ellen's first inquiry, it doesn't mean completely be so far out of the circle you don't feel like you're just ignoring something that's there. No, you're kind of meeting it. Something's happening. You brought something to light. He's saying, "Oh, you could be right." You know, anyway. It's just underway. It's underway. But if there's no shame, how is it a good thing that this happened?
Because it helped me be there for me. It helped me take a look at befriending myself. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
Especially maybe that little one, that little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Grace. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's a weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very welcome. I love the meeting it with I'm willing that this happened. I'm willing to have this happen. I'm even willing to have this happen again. Something about
Yes.
being exposed. It's just looking at the benefits of being exactly as we are. All of it. Human being. Look at what we expect ourselves to be sometimes, like more than just, I don't know, something that isn't even human. But all those things that we're scared of.
It's about this attitude of perfection
Yeah.
And if we're not perfect, it's shameful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Humans are messy and stinky and not perfect. That's why I love to go camping. It reminds me that I'm messy and stinky.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, very sweet, and very sweet to see the innocence of those parents when you were a little one, you know, wanting to know something like, say, please share, we found this, we want to, or whatever they were doing there, that it went the way it went. And
Well, they tried to come down on me. How can you say this about your mother? My father had to take over while she's crying. She hates me. And
yeah,
they
yeah,
made it into such a, what's the word, mashugana? Just
yeah,
such a big ball of wax instead of, the girl's got some emotions. She's writing to her brother. She trusts him. And it's all good.
yeah. So sweet. You can turn it around. I'm making this into a big ball of wax in this situation, and it really is. It's all good. It's just a girl sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably true. It's probably no big deal.
Nothing serious. As Katie said, nothing serious is going on. Yeah. I mean, just really noticing the safety of the moment here. Are you safe, even though somebody unexpected has read your feelings?
Yeah, because I definitely didn't feel safe in the back seat of that car,
Right.
taking me out into the end of the development. I mean, it was a development, and they took me to the very end of it,
Yeah.
where it was there were no lights or anything. I was in the back seat of the car. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and they're in the front. Just what is this that you wrote to your brother?
It's just so great that comes up and comes alive, and you can even see it all happening right there in that really, child to parent, where it feels so innocent for you and they're so upset. But just watching, how was it great that went down? What did I learn? What am I aware of now? I mean, I love we can go back and kind of clean up those original situations. It's just not dangerous to have your inner life come out and become out in the open. It's just not dangerous. It's not embarrassing. Who embarrasses me? I embarrass myself. I believe it. And it's so innocent that you believe it. So nothing wrong with that even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes back to that.
Yeah.
Like I was the Democrat in a Republican family. So, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I love Black people. I was like a magnet to Black people. And my parents were always pulling me away, and my father even said to my husband on our wedding day, I'm so glad she married you. I was always afraid she was going to marry a Black guy. I mean, just on and on and on, just ridiculous. So my secret writings, like, oh my God, are they going to find out that I really like Black people? And I have lots of friends that are Black.
It's great to just write the Judge-Your-Neighbor, write that Judge-Your-Neighbor on that and see if more or different comes out. And just noticing the benefits of these people being as they are. It does not have to mean anything. Like
judge who? Who should I never know who
Dad.
to judge.
Dad.
My dad.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Judge your dad. Judge your mom in that situation, because they're both right there.
The car situation.
Yeah, the car situation, but you can find others too.
Oh, yeah.
Really powerful. So,
Okay.
yeah. So comments, questions from others, just feedback, just sharing. I find that I am only only embarrassed if I'm believing there's something worthy of embarrassment. Even if a person is yelling at me, oh, you did it so wrong. I have to believe that for it to be stressful. Like, there they are being themselves. Am I okay? Anyway. And what is my deepest danger? I think haven't I believed about myself that if everyone really knew what I think, if they really saw the way I reacted, if they were really finding out, like, they would reject me, hate me, abandon me. And is that actually true? Who would I be without that story? It can only happen if I believe it myself. Betrayal, rejection, lack of trust. If I think what I'm saying needs to be hidden. Oops, you're on mute. Hang on, Marty.
Is that on mute?
Unmuted.
Okay, I said, and all the judgments that would be leveled against me if they knew how I felt or what I thought, or
Yeah. It's all in the future imagination. This is like, it just goes to catastrophe. I love this. Sometime in the last year, somebody shared with me that it's 80% negative bias, that just the initial mind, it's like, just goes to that. We're just hooked up like that, or,
Tara Brock talks about the negativity bias.
yeah, there we go.
That's our default mode in our brain.
So you just see protection mode. It's like just watching and seeing how terrible it would be if people knew this about me. And I love the turnaround. It's so exciting, isn't it? Like, it's wonderful if they know this about me. Wonderful. I look forward to it. I'm willing to have them know. How is it a benefit for me, for them, for the world, that this is out there? I look forward to that. Pretty remarkable and pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
I just retired and I'm planning to move back to my home city because I'm from Rochester, New York, and we moved down to Florida on our honeymoon. Been down here for 30 something years, and it's like, this is the longest vacation ever. I want to go home. So I'm moving back to Rochester, but to move back to Rochester, I've also got to make some amends and tie up some loose ends and some beliefs that I had when I lived there. And some of this is coming up for that reason too, that it's to become whole, to move back whole instead of broken. So it's all good.
Yeah.
I hope my puppy likes snow though.
And I can see whole already, and just interested in connecting with these people.
That's what I want. I want amends, and I want to live out my days there.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah. Very sweet. Wonderful, everybody. Thanks for being here. And Laura's saying, thank you so much. Love the work and the courageous humans that do it. Yeah. So sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Ellen and Mary and Marty and everyone for following along, being part of it. So lots of love, everyone. Joyful to be with you. See you next time. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye.